The second match of the OVC season, and we were playing against EIU. It was like 22 minutes into the match, and I was going in. We were already up 2-0, and I was going into goal for a third goal, and the keeper, she came out because we were in her 18. She came out, and somehow her knee hit my knee just right, and my knee went completely backwards, and it was so fast, and I just like fell over, and it was like instant pain, and then I couldn't move my leg at all. So it was kind of like freaky when that happened, because I was like, I can't get up. And I don't cry. So for me to have tears, especially on the field like that, was a big deal, because I've never had that happen before. So I knew it was something pretty bad. We went in for an MRI a week later and got the results, and it was a torn ACL, a partially torn ACL at that point, they said. Torn medial meniscus, sprained LCL and MCL, and then a tibial plateau fracture. So wasn't the best diagnosis, but there was like still some hope, because it wasn't fully torn, as the doctor said. It was pretty torn, but it wasn't like fully torn. So it gave me some bit of hope. So that recovery through the time before I had surgery was very difficult. There were a lot of tears, and like I said before, I don't cry, but having to be out with that kind of injury and watching the team play and practice, I mean, for me that's very hard for me, because of how much I love the sport and how much passion I have for it, and how much I want to be on the field to not only better myself but better the team and help the team and go further. So that aspect of the injury was probably worse than the actual injury itself. My team was absolutely amazing. There were freshmen even who, didn't know completely. They would come up to me and they would write me notes, put them in my locker, being like, hey, keep your head up, be strong. They'd put notes on my ball. They'd make it out of tape, like medical tape. They'd write, be strong, keep going. I mean, every day someone tried to pick me up off the floor, and that was amazing, because not a lot of teams have that. A lot of teams, when you get hurt, you become part of the injured crowd. They just kind of disregard you. You're kind of not much to them anymore. But with our team, it's completely different. When you're injured, you're almost more involved, because everyone wants, especially with the type of injury that I had, knowing that I was going to be out for a while, they knew how much that would affect me, because of how much I just want to be on the field and want to play. So they were always trying to get me involved, either by writing those notes or having me come into a drill and coaching them even. So my teammates were unbelievable, and the coaches were the same. There were good days and bad days with rehab, and on the bad days I was able to walk into the coach's office, and Adam was sitting at his desk, and he was like, all right, just let it out. And we just have a heart-to-heart, kind of just a cry session, if you want to say it. So the support that I had, and that was same with Ashley, our trainer. I mean, she knew exactly how I was the minute I walked in the door, if I was having a good day or if I was having a bad day, and how to help me through that, because she knew how detrimental the injury was to me mentally more than anything. So having that support probably actually pushed me through my rehab and allowed me to get to the point where I was able to play at the end of the season. So when I first came back, we played against Jacksonville State was the first match that I came back. And I was very excited to be back, but I was a little nervous, because I didn't want to let my teammates or my coaches down, because I didn't know if I would be 100%. Because, I mean, I didn't really have a knee anymore. We found out that it was fully torn, basically, when I went back. And so I didn't really have a knee too much at that point. So I didn't know how well I could perform, but I wanted to believe in myself enough that I could get the job done to help us get to the next match, to the semifinal round. So that first match, that was probably one of the best games that I've ever played. Actually, it was kind of cool because after the match, Adam came up to me and was like, "Wow, like, did you really just do that?" And I was just like, "I don't know, I guess so." So that was a huge confidence booster. That made me believe in myself even more, that I can play through this, that I can get through this, and just help us get to where we want to be, to get to that OVC championship match. And that was quite difficult after the game. Couldn't really walk too well, but I mean, the pain was worth it. So when I heard those words, I was devastated. I mean, I didn't want to, I should say, believe that it was that bad. But I realized, like, there's nothing I could do about it. It was torn. I can't get in my knee and tell it, "Hey, heal." So I had to just take it with a grain of salt and do whatever I could to not let it affect me and not let it, like, the emotions bottle up inside and ruin, even stop me from playing. Because I mean, I found when I had the surgery and I went through the rehab, I found ways to get ball touches. I'd sit on the ground and just juggle with my left foot then, or I would watch videos instead of me physically going out on the field and doing things. I mean, mentally getting myself to the level that I wanted to be at and keeping myself sane through the injury. So, I mean, once you realize that there's nothing you can do about it, and you have to go through the pain to get to the glory, you just have to bite the bullet, and you just have to do whatever you can to fight through it, and, you know, figure out there's always an alternative way of training. So, I mean, I figured out my alternatives that helped me get through the injury. Got the full bill, ready to go, the green light on June 24th. That was the first time I actually went home since Christmas, and I went to the doctor right away, and he's like, "Yep, you're good to go." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, it was the best day ever." It was probably the best words I've ever heard.